Sidewipe.
Sidewipe? Is that why they call it a swipe?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. Huh. Hi, welcome to ABC's Film. This week we are watching On the Waterfront. It's a film from 1954 and it won the Best Picture Oscar in 1955. I've been looking forward to seeing this one for a while. Even before we started watching all the Best Picture things, it was a film that I was always like, I must make sure I watch that at some point, but I never got around to it. So today, hopefully it's going to be good and it lives up to the reputation that it has, and I can find out what he means at the end, because I know the final quote, but I don't know the context of it, so it would be cool. Right, quick description of On the Waterfront. It follows Marlon Brando, whose character name I've forgotten now. Terry
Malloy.
Malloy.
He's a longshoreman on. It's New York docks, isn't it?
Well, it could be anywhere.
East
Liverpool or Rome, you know. And where he works is run by the mob, and the mob choose every day who works and who doesn't. And if you don't play ball, then you don't work. And people who have spoken out have then died.
Yeah.
And Marlon Brando helps the mob, unknowingly helps the mob set up a guy so they can throw him off a roof. He just says, hey, I'll meet you on the roof, and that's like his job done. And he leaves, and then the mob meet him on the roof. He thought they were just going to talk to him, but they throw him off. And that sort of sets loads of things in motion that makes Marlon Brando want to speak out against the mob.
I thought they was gonna talk to him. That's the idea? I thought they was gonna talk to him and get him to dummy up.
Maybe give him an argument.
Oh, I figured the worst they was gonna do was lean on him a little bit.
Well, like I said, maybe give him an argument.
He's been giving Johnny the boss a lot of arguments lately.
Wow. He wasn't a bad kid, that Joey.
Harry.
Maybe he could sing, but he couldn't fly.
It's remarkable.
It's honestly, it's definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen. I'm not sure I'd rank it right now, but like
I think Casablanca's better because it's tighter.
Yeah,
but it's not far off.
Definitely the first one of these Oscar films that has elicited a genuine emotional reaction from me.
I nearly cried at the end.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really did nearly cry.
The whole I could have been a contender thing where his brother is convinced.
Oh my
to
god!
Not,
there's usually when there's a famous line in a film and you weren't alive when the film came out. So you know the famous line and you go your whole life knowing that line, but you don't know the context.
Yeah.
When you watch it, it's usually not that great.
Yeah.
That scene floored me.
He is fucking incredible in this film.
Yeah.
I don't need to swear so much, but I think it deserves it. He's like, I think he's better in this than he was in The Godfather.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is like, I mean, I have like, obviously I've seen him in various different things, like seen The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, but this is by far the best thing that I've seen him in. He does, like I said during the film, he does Stallone better than Stallone does Stallone.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like this low class uneducated
character. It's definitely, as Alex pointed out when we were watching, he's very Rocky, his character.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like Tom Hardy in a movie called The Drop.
Which is a really good film, also you should check out.
Yeah. So I think it wouldn't surprise me if I watched the special features on Rocky or The Drop if they mention this film.
Well, obviously this is incredibly influential. It's just like it's a fucking shock that I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I know. I'm really pumped up just by how good it was.
Gimme.
I must have miscounted.
Gimme. Gimme. You come from Greenpoint, go back to Greenpoint. You don't work here no more.
One thing as well on the I could have been a contender line. I thought the line before it was better when he said it wasn't my manager, it was you.
Yeah.
I thought that because basically Marlon Brando used to be a boxer.
Yeah.
And he had to throw a fight years beforehand, and he was gonna have an opportunity, a title fight, but he threw this fight so that his brother and his mafia friends, because his brother works for the mafia, could make loads of money, as they do.
It's not his actual brother though, is it? It's like his adopted brother.
Oh, so I didn't.
Like they kind of hung out together when he was at the orphanage because his father was killed or something like that.
Right, I didn't catch that. I thought. So anyway, they're in a car, and he says to him, "Your manager was pushing you too hard. He shouldn't have put you in so far. Your manager ruined your career." And Brando just says, "It wasn't my manager, it was you."
That skunk we got you for the manager. He brought you along too fast.
It wasn't him, Charlie. It was you. You remember that night in the garden? You came down my dressing room and said, "Kid, this ain't your night. We're going for the price on Wilson." You remember that? This ain't your night. My night. I could have taken Wilson apart.
Yeah.
What did you think of all the main actors? Obviously, Marlon Brando was really good. The guy who played
The priest.
the priest was really good.
Yeah, he
looked
was
at his
very
name-
good.
I looked at his name a minute ago. Like, the character was called Father Barry, which you'll like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's Carl something or other, the actor, but he was really good.
He was
like,
he was kind of like John C. Reilly.
yeah, kind of strange to be in like films with the nose he had because it's like one of the most bulbous noses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the sermons that he was given throughout the thing, obviously he was the inciting character, like the main force of moral goodness in
Yeah,
the
the priest is a character that's trying to convince Marlon Brando to
yeah.
testify against the mob.
And there's the scene where what's the name of the character? The second character gets crushed by the crane.
I don't know. It's not important. Another
No,
guy gets killed by the mob in an accident, and the priest comes to speak.
He
over
comes to
his
speak
body.
on the ship. All the mobsters and all the longshoremen look at him, and he gives this absolutely like really inspiring speech that sets Marlon Brando off on the path of righteousness, let's say. And it's really like that's a very powerful moment in the film as well.
And anybody who sits around and lets it happen, keeps silent about something he knows has happened, shares the guilt of it just as much as the Roman soldier who pierced the flesh of our Lord to see if he was dead. Go back to your church, Father! Boys, this is my church!
Were there any like parts of the film that you didn't really enjoy or thought that could be criticised?
The score was so over the top in parts. It worked for the whole end bit.
Yeah.
Because like the last 10 minutes, say, was really dramatic.
Yeah.
But there were parts when people were just talking and it would overpower, going like.
I think like especially in the scene where he's in the car with Charlie, like at the very start of that scene, the score was quite like inflated and quite loud. When he just had the conversation about I could have been a contender, I think the score really accentuated that quite well.
Yeah.
But throughout the rest of the scene, I think it could have done without any kind of score whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
There's lots of other parts in the film like that where it's like the score is just really overpowering the action that's going on. And obviously, like in this film, the dialogue and the acting is good enough to carry it on its own without having to have the intrusive score.
Yeah, as like a modern audience, it's not a deal breaker.
No, absolutely, but it's something you kind of notice.
It stands out.
Yeah.
And there was one bit I mentioned it to you and you didn't seem like you noticed it, so it might just be one of those things.
Yeah.
There was a scene with the priest talking to Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
And it was very clear that they were cut into different audio tracks because like there was a hiss.
Yeah.
When the priest was talking, it would suddenly be like and then he'd stop.
It was filmed outside, wasn't it? So
yeah,
obviously it's probably harder to get. You know more about this than me, but it's probably harder to get your audio
definitely.
correct.
Yeah.
Come on, take a walk with me, kid, and give it to me straight. There's nothing I haven't.
So, just in general, the scene at the end was really kind of inspiring because Marlon Brando's character, Terry Malloy, is
Spoilers.
Spoilers. So he's testified against Johnny Friendly, and obviously he's going to get indicted any time, but you know he doesn't want to just sit there and kind of wait because he's all pumped up, so he goes down to the docks to kind of inspire the longshoremen to stand up against Johnny Smiley. The final sequence.
Oh, the priest.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando can't get up because he's had the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And the priest is like, "Come on, you've got to get up, and he's like, "I don't think I can do it, Father." And then the father says like, Johnny Friendly's put bets against you, saying you can't get up," and he's like, oh, "Okay."
It's so good.
Yeah.
It really is. I honestly, like, somewhere in like the past, I kind of osmosed that he died at the end. Like,
I thought the I could have been a contender.
It's him on the ground, lying,
Was at
dying.
the end.
Yeah.
No, I knew it was in the back of a taxi, but I thought it was kind of like a Long Good Friday thing, where he's
yeah.
being driven to his death.
Yeah. But no. It's got actually a pretty inspiring ending. I mean, obviously, it's very Hollywood.
Yeah, it was
doesn't really
kind
work
of
that
like
way,
he's
but-
had the shit kicked out of him. He's got cuts all over his face, blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And the father's like, "You need to do one more thing." And he's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "You need to work a 10-hour shift."
Yeah. It's set up so well because it's like we ain't gonna work if he's not gonna work.
Yeah, and it's like fucking hell, man. He just had the shit kicked
Yeah.
out of him.
But they really knew in this one how to do an inspiring ending.
All right, let's go to work.
Alright, so that was our review of On the Waterfront. It's amazing. Definitely recommend it. Go see it, or if
Just
it's on
watch it.
Netflix, watch it on Netflix. If not, borrow it from your friend or other places.
People a lot of people do say they don't watch old films because they think they're kind of old and dusty. This one it just feels really modern.
Yeah, this one
It
holds up.
Every night I bring her Frankfurt sandwiches, Frankfurt sandwiches. How my baby loves those Frankfurt sandwiches, Frankfurt sandwiches. I try to win her with candy, ice cream and custard. But how she likes hot dogs with mustard.
Me, 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 me.
You.
Hello and welcome to ABC's Films.